Okay, so this is a 2010 Ford Taurus. Trying to get the strut assembly out, and you can see that I put two spring compressors on here to try to take up some of the length on this this strut, and I still couldn't get it off. Try to get the strut away from the spindle. And what I found is that over here, the CV joint would hit right here on this corner of the frame. Sorry, you can't really see it. And I couldn't get the lower control arm down any further, even with the steering rod disconnected and the sway bar link disconnected here. Still couldn't get it to come out. I tried to take the nut off here on the spindle. Where are we at here? Down here. But I couldn't get it because the length on this isn't long enough. Okay, to put a wrench. There's a flat here on the top. I couldn't get the wrench. The nut wouldn't come off with the wrench on here. So what I concluded was you got to put the jack underneath the lower swing arm to put pressure on this joint right here. Okay, on this joint right here, because it's not really a tapered press fit, it's just a conical fit here. So if you put pressure on the lower control arm with your jack, you can actually back the spindle nut completely off. And that allows you to take the entire assembly, okay, this whole thing, and pick it up and move it off and set it off to the side, and that gives you enough room to get the strut off here. So that's how you get it apart on a 2010 Ford Taurus. Okay, so you should always use the utmost amount of care when you're compressing the spring here. This thing is under a lot of load and is very dangerous. So you want to make sure your tie-ons here are your hooks are good and secure, and like I said, you want to use caution around this thing, and you have to compress it to get this nut off. Don't ever take this nut off here without first compressing the spring, because it'll go shooting out and hurt yourself or someone else. How in the world do you get that nut out of there? Because when you get on that with an impact gun, the main shaft back here spins, and you can't really hold on to it all that well. So you'll have to have some spring compressors on here, because you got to take the load off the spring to put this on. It's the same for when you take it off also. Now they sell a tool that does this. It's a special tool that comes down in here, and it's a socket, and then it has an opening on it that you can use to get in there with another wrench. So the cheapskate way, and what you'll find also is that tool's not available. You go to Advanced Auto, you can't get it. So what do? You buy a $6 socket. In this case, it's a 21 millimeter, and you want a deep well. I prefer the 6-sided hex, not the 12s. And I had to go in here with the Dremel tool and grind out the center bore on this, so enough to get my 3/8 extension down through that. Okay, so this goes on this, and then so there's a socket right here. Okay, so you put that on first. You come in here, put that on. You follow that up with this, put that on, and bingo, you got it. So you can tighten this down, use your socket to hold it, and then you use your vice grips. Now you'll have to clamp the hell out of your vice grips to hold it so that it doesn't slip. But I was able to get this apart this way, and I'm going to put it back together this way. Okay, so this is the new strut from Ford Motor Company. Before you buy your replacement strut, you might want to check into getting it from Ford. Advanced Auto had the wrong one. They specify the wrong version of it, and a lot of times even Pep Boys and an AutoZone is simply not available, or you have to wait 3 or 4 days. And when you start comparing the prices, you can order typically a part from Ford online and have it the very next day. And in this case, this was actually cheaper. All said and done with taxes was $103. So you can see here, this is the play in the old version, which is completely unacceptable. And the new version is rock solid. There's not a single bit of play in it whatsoever. So if you have a Ford Taurus and you're having problems with rattles on the front end and stuff like that, you may want to consider taking a look at your strut assemblies and see if this joint here isn't worn out and shot. Okay guys, now the shock mount or the strut mount on this can be put on in two different ways. Ford provides a coarse camber adjustment. Okay, so that's how far your wheel tilts in and out by simply switching the strut mounting plate 180 degrees. Okay, so when you're putting the new one back on, make sure the center of the strut is biased towards the inside of the car. Okay, because that's how it came factory that way.